Hey everybody, welcome back to the Old School Cannabis Project with myself, Blue Skies, and Smoke Will Rich. So, myself and Rich decided to resurrect the Meet the Bullshitters series and expand and continue with it. So, we briefly mentioned as a reintroduction to things in the last episode, the little goofy not so dog. Today, this episode, we're going to take a quick impromptu look at another prime class A bullshitter of the highest order in the community. And his name's Mike Schneider. Now, who is Mike Schneider, you might ask? Mike Schneider is better known to us guys as the old school legendary breeder, MassMedicalStrains. There he is. Now, let's take a listen to him on the podcast run by the Australian sycophant and Emerald Triangle dick rider, Heavy Days. Do you want to give it a play, Rich, so we can hear some words of wisdom, perhaps, or at least a little of the voice of the old school breeder who's been in the game decades, MassMedicalStrains?
Yeah, I got you.
It just stuck with me in a special way, and I just realized damn, this is some powerful shit. I just
Definitely
thought
a natural voice.
After that for a couple of weeks.
It's a pretty deep voice, yeah.
But I ended up.
Yeah, it sounds even more natural on this one right here. If you give him a couple seconds,
he's got a pretty deep voice, and he's not appeared. He's not appeared on the podcast in person. He's not appeared on this one in person. Now he's in America. He's got legal protection. He's got some guy called Tanasi stood to the next right of him. Go back to that, Rich. That goofy Tanasi. Now, if that cunt ain't fucking embarrassed to appear on camera, fucking Mass Medical certainly shouldn't be. So, did you play his voice then, that Mass Medical, or not?
Yeah. It's here in the beginning, first couple of seconds.
Let's have a listen to his nice deep voice.
Really pop that purple out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not using a voice changer. So we got goofy Mass Medical, the old school breeder, decades of skin in the game, doesn't appear on camera, uses a voice changer. What could he be hiding? Should we take a look on his YouTube channel? Not that one. Let's go up and take a look at his more recent ones. So we can't. Perhaps this one with Gary Chin. We can take a look at who he is and what he sounds like.
My main hobby is growing up.
Fuck Gary Chin. Let's go to Mass Medical. There he is in the blue t-shirt. This is the old school breeder, MassMedicalStrains. And let's take a listen to his real voice.
I didn't.
Hold on, Gary Chin's talking a little too much.
Yeah, had kids. It's crazy. I don't think I saw them till fourth grade.
What the fuck?
You had kids that were really young that had them in your school.
Yeah, I think I always liked.
What's happened to his voice? I thought he was a big 18-stone, booming voiced, old school, 50s at least breeder. But no, looking at him, he's a skinny, scrawny, balding, fucking fingerboarder. Now, why am I being mean to Mike? Now, Mike Schneider, aka MassMedicalStrains, puts himself out there as an old school breeder, a medical strain breeder, pretends he's been in the game for decades. He uses a voice changer. He's not the person he says he is. He pretends that he spends all this time breeding when, if you check out Mike Schneider's YouTube channel, do you want to show people just exactly what it is, Rich, so people can check it out for themselves? All they've got to do, all they've got to do is type in Mike, M-I-K-E, Schneider, S-C-H-N-E-I-D-E-R, and they can see Mass Medical for who he really is. Now, why do I pick on little old Mike? And it's not really picking, it's just doing the community a solid by telling them the truth about who this fraudster really is. Because I have it on very good authority that when he was in high school, there he is, fingerboarding away like a fucking little goofy twat. When he was in high school, there was a classmate of his who had some kind of disability, a facial disfigurement, a deformity, you might call it, whatever. He had something a little wrong with his appearance. And for that, Mike bullied him horrendously all throughout high school, called the guy flat face because of this appearance that he had, and named his fingerboard company Flat Face Fingerboards after this kid that he bullied horrendously through high school. So he's not this fucking hippie guy, peace and love. He's a fucking little shit cunt who spent his high school years bullying a kid to the near point of, I've been told, suicide. And then furthermore, increasing the bullying of this kid by naming his fingerboard company that his mummy and daddy set up for him after this kid's nickname. So he's a nasty little cunt. He's not a fucking peace and love hippie. He's a fucking little geek whose mummy got him into fucking cannabis breeding, mainly because she works at MIT. I'll say no more. Connected to certain people who knew about legalization coming up, etc. So she got little Mikey to start making his shit little fucking seeds under the name MassMedicalStrains to imply he's about the medical fucking breeding and community, which he's not. He's a fraudulent fingerboarding little fuckwit, and he stole most of his work from Professor P. Well documented. Anybody wants to hit up Professor P 420 of Dynasty? Fig Dynasty is his fucking company. He's got PDFs on this little fucker to the point where Mikey's had to do damage limitation and put out a whole section. I guess you got this off his website, Rich, refuting the rumors, which are facts, about how he stole and ripped off most of his fucking work. Now, how did he come into my sights, as it were? Well, back when I first joined Instagram, I didn't know Mikey was little Mikey. I believed his persona that he was putting out there, especially after listening to him on the Heavy Days podcast. Voice changer aside, that could have been just for privacy, not just to hide the fact he's a fucking 3-stone virgin meth head. But yeah, I thought, oh, this guy, he's from the old school. Somebody hit me up. That was it. Somebody hit me up and said, yeah, you should contact Mass Medical and, talk with him. He's a cool guy. He's another old school breeder, interested in the similar kind of genetics as you are. And I was like, well, I'm not in the habit of kind of contacting these people and asking for fucking help or whatever. But I said, feel free if you want to mention to him, I'll be down for a chat. Or if he wants to give me a shout out, mention the skunks that I've discovered and brought back. This was in the very early days I joined Instagram. When I didn't know any fucking better about most of the cunts we're going to be fucking featuring on this Meet the Bullshitters series. So anyway, the response that came back via this little intermediary surprised me. I was like, well, I can't, to be honest, I'm not going to lie and try and repeat what he said. I can't remember exactly what it was, but the response back was not quite what I was expecting from a person who would be, as his persona indicates. So what he said basically caused me to realize this guy's not an old school cool breeder. He's not about the community. He basically said, oh, fuck that guy. I'm not going to help him. Blah, de blah, some shit along those lines. So that was the first thing that raised my my eyebrows, as it were, put me onto the fact that he's not who he pretends to be in public. Then some people started then providing me information about how he's really Mike Schneider, the flat-face fingerboard. So they sent me some fucking newspaper clippings and articles. And so the truth became known. So this is a little impromptu episode, guys. We are going to be doing some more in-depth, like Jodry and Matt Riot and Sam the Skunk Man, when we'll put a little more effort into it. But this is such an easy one to do and prove that Mass Medical has been a lying fraud from the get-go, using voice changes on podcasts, using his mummy's MIT fucking connections, and just lying to the community from the very start. So check him out, Mike Schneider, on YouTube, and that is who MassMedicalStrains is. I'm going to in-depth revelation of some other characters who are lying cunts and bullshitters in the industry. But for now, Mass Medical, he's not a fucking 50-year-old breeder who's been doing it for decades. When I first become aware of him, he's like 26, 27, so he's barely into his early 30s now. His whole raison d'etre from the start was to lie to the medical community, starting with his name, Mass Medical. He stole all his genetics from Professor P and others, no doubt. And to this day, he continues to use voice changes, etc., to hide the fact that he's not an old school breeder. He's a little fucking thief. And that's what he is, a lying fraud. So all the people that like to talk shit about Blue Skies Vienna being a liar, this, that, and the other, no. Blue Skies Vienna is the fucking truth. Whereas cunts like this little anorexic prick are the lying, thieving, fraudulent scum in the industry to be avoided. So keep your eyes out for upcoming episodes on further bullshitters, but we just thought we'd trot this one out quickly because it's so easily proven. All you got to do, no cunt, this cunt will be like Superman and Clark Kent, right? Mike Schneider and Mass Medical will never appear in the same room at the same time. And if they do, you'll see that Mass Medical is this little fucker. So check him out, Mike Schneider, on YouTube, the true face of MassMedicalStrains, set up by his mummy, funded by his flat-face fingerboard company's profits, which he's made off the back of bullying kids in high school. So he's a cunt with stolen genetics who lies continuously, and he's the star of this episode of Meet the Bullshitters. Mike, you have the right to reply, Mikey, little old Mikey. If you want to come on this podcast and tell us any different, if you want to come on and not use a voice changer and see if your voice sounds exactly like skinny little Mikey Schneider on YouTube, then you're welcome to do that. But you won't, because you can't, unless you are willing to come on and admit everything about you and your company is based on theft and lies. Run along, you little cunt. Catch you later, fam.